Hello, Tom here from the Run Testers with another running shoe versus video. In this video I'm going to look at two daily shoes which you might want to pick up for your daily training if you want something a little bit more versatile. So I'm going to be looking at the Hoka Mach 5 and the Saucony Ride 15. Let's take a look. The Hoka Mach 5 costs £130 or $140. It weighs in at 212 grams or 7.5 ounces for men in a size 8, and the drop is 5mm. The Saucony Ride 15 costs £130 or $140. It weighs in at 249 grams or 8.8 ounces for men in a size 8, and the drop is 8mm. The Hoka Mach 5 is the long-anticipated successor to the hugely popular Mach 4 and its slightly firmer sibling, the Mach Supersonic. In the most recent version, there's an updated ProFly Plus midsole that offers a slightly softer ride for daily training runs, a leaner upper to keep the weight down, including a redesigned lay-flat tongue, and longer laces than those supplied with the Mach Supersonic. It's a shoe that's designed for versatility, allowing you to go from comfortable daily miles all the way up to race day, offering an excellent balance of responsiveness and cushioning. That balance is the result of a dual density midsole that combines a softer layer with a firmer rubberized outer layer. Hoka says it's a shoe that has a little more oomph behind it, both in performance and ride. The Saucony Ride 15 is a daily training shoe that's designed to feel lightweight and lean. Like its predecessors, it skews towards a modest level of cushioning, allowing it to be more versatile for faster efforts. The updates in the 15 include a lighter Power Run midsole foam, a more cushioned Power Run Plus sock liner, and a noticeable drop in weight from the previous versions. The upper is made from a thin, breathable mesh to improve breathability, and there's a good level of padding around the ankle collar as well as the tongue. On the outsole, there's also a sprinkling of rubber to improve durability. So the fit for me in both of these shoes is true to size. I definitely wouldn't size up or down in either of these shoes. They're both very comfortable, nice lockdown fit. But what I would say is the Hoka Mach 5, it's a Hoka, so they're generally a little bit more narrow than other shoes. So if you have got wide feet, take that in consideration with the Mach 5 because it might be a little bit too narrow for you. But other than that, true to size in both shoes. I picked these two shoes because they are both options that are likely to crop up if you are looking for a daily training shoe that can do lots of different type of runs. You don't really want to just go for a heavily cushioned shoe, you don't want to go for a race shoe, you want something that can tick a lot of boxes, either if it's your only shoe that you're going to run in or because you want a daily shoe as part of a rotation. So both of these shoes they're designed so that you can pick them up and go and do anything from a 5k all the way up to half marathon and further, and change the pace that you're doing on those. So say if you were doing interval training or something, you could use these shoes for that, or you could go for a slower run if you wanted to, and you only need one shoe to do that. So I picked these shoes because these are two shoes that I like. I've used quite a lot over the past few months, and they do have a lot of similarities, but I think there's certain reasons why you buy one over the other one. Now the Hoka Mach 5 is a fantastic shoe. Absolutely love this shoe. Also love the Hoka Mach 4. It's probably the best shoe that Hoka make at the moment. It is a shoe that is designed for daily training miles. It's lightweight. It just feels very fast when you're running in it. It feels very nimble, but also it feels very comfortable. The Hoka Mach 5 is a shoe that skews more towards the faster side of training. So if you're looking for daily training shoes that you're going to run in at a faster pace a lot, the Hoka Mach 5 really does the job for that. You can train tempo, interval, you could race in this shoe and it would be absolutely fantastic to do that in. But also you can go the other side as well. So if you wanted to do slower miles in it, if you wanted to just enjoy yourself and do a longer run, there's enough cushioning in this shoe. It's got a dual density midsole foam, so two different types of foam that sit in the midsole, and it really works well for comfortable runs. It skews more towards the faster runs, so I definitely wouldn't say this is comparable with any cushion shoes out there at the moment. If you're looking for a shoe that predominantly covers you for lots of slow, comfortable or long runs, and you just want something that really deadens that impact and you're not really bothered about speed, the Hoka Mach 5 probably isn't for you because it's a shoe that ultimately delivers when you want to run fast. But if you sort of sit in the middle and you want something that does both, then the Mach 5 is quite good for that. You can run slower paced in it if you want to. I wouldn't do loads of slow paced training in this, but I've been doing a lot of marathon training recently, which means that I'm doing a lot of interval sessions. I'm doing a lot of sessions where I'm doing a kilometre on and a kilometre off, and this shoe works great for it because you can pick up the pace and for those fast intervals, and when you slow down, still feels nice, cushions your feet, you don't feel like it's too lightweight or it's too firm, and that midsole foam is surprisingly soft to the landing when you're running in it. There's a nice turnover in it, it feels comfortable, and I think you could probably do pretty much anything in this if you wanted to. It's a fantastic shoe, but as I say, if you want something that's really veers towards cushioning, it's probably not the thing it is best at. Which brings me to the Saucony Ride 15. Now the Ride line is a line that Saucony's had for a very long time, and it has had numerous changes over its development, and the Saucony Ride 15 is probably one of the biggest of those. The Ride 14 was a fantastic shoe. It was one of Kieran's favourite shoes. He really liked that because he's not a big fan of cushion shoes. So the Ride 14 offered a sort of semi-cushioned ride, but was a little bit firmer in comparison to some of the cushion shoes out there. So it's almost a shoe that Kieran would use for his cushioned runs, his easy runs, instead of using a heavily cushioned shoe. And that's where the Ride really fits in. It's a daily shoe which can go faster. You can run faster efforts in it and train harder in it, but unlike the Mach 5, which skews towards the faster runs, the Ride 15 really skews a bit more towards the slower, comfortable side of running. That's not to say it can't still do all of those things, but it's really designed for a nice level of comfort and cushioning if you want something that will go faster than a cushioned shoe. So I would say that if you looked at your running plan or the type of runs you do, and you wanted a daily trainer, and really 95% of the runs are slower runs where you want comfort, but then maybe 5 to 10% of it you want to run a bit faster, the Ride 15 is a fantastic option for that. The midsole foam is quite nice and cushioned. It's got this power and midsole foam in it, which isn't the softest foam out there. It's a little bit firmer than you'll find in quite a lot of shoes, daily training shoes, but it's softer than the previous versions. And I really like cushioned soft shoes, so when I picked up the Ride 15, I preferred it to the previous version. Just feels a little bit nicer for me, especially over those slower, easy runs. So for me, I think the Ride 15 is a great shoe. It's got a lovely turnover. It feels very nice to run in. You can definitely pick it up for any run. I've done a lot of different types of runs in this shoe, from shorter interval sessions all the way up to half marathon training runs, and it does a great job at it. I'd just say that if I was going out for a run and I really wanted something where I could top out and go at a fast pace for my intervals, I'd much rather go for the Mach 5 for that. It just feels a bit lighter, it's a bit nimbler, and it just really works well for those faster efforts, whereas the Ride 15 can do them, but it doesn't excel in them. It's really veering more towards that cushion side as opposed to the fast race tempo interval side. But if you're somebody that, as I say, does more cushioned runs than interval runs, it will do those. So not an issue at all if you want something daily and versatile. The other thing I'd say about these two shoes is that the Mach 5 doesn't really have a very impressive outsole on it. This is one of the biggest things that people say about the shoe. There's not a lot of rubber on it, so it can get a little bit slippy, and durability on it has been questioned quite a lot by people. I haven't got to the point where I'm really seeing any issues with durability. There is stuff rubbing off it at the moment, but it's fine for me at the moment. But I have heard a lot of people say that the durability is a bit of an issue because there is no outsole rubber, or no explicit outsole rubber in there. It actually has a sort of rubber infused foam in there, but there's no actual rubber outsole on it like you get in something like the Ride 15. There's not loads on the Ride 15, but there's actually some which you don't get on the Mach 5. But for durability and grip, the Ride 15 is probably the best for those if you're looking for something that's just got a little bit more to it, especially if you're running on tricky surfaces, wet, slippery surfaces. The Ride 15 is probably the better option for that. Okay, so my verdicts on these two shoes. I think that the Hoka Mach 5 is the superior shoe. I think it's a fantastic shoe. I think there's so much going for this shoe, and it's well worth picking up for anyone's running shoe rotation, because it's just really good. If you don't want to wear a plated shoe for fast training, it's the best option out there at the moment. And also, you can use it for slow runs as well. It's not great at it, but it still can do them, which just means it can just tick a lot of boxes. If you're looking for a daily trainer, it's also the sort of trainer that if I was training for something, I was going away on holiday for 2 weeks, I'd probably take this or the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3, just because they're both so versatile. Although this is probably going to pack into my bag a little bit better because it's a little bit more flexible. The Saucony Ride 15, I would say it's also a great shoe. There's a lot of good points to this shoe, but it's a daily trainer that skews towards cushioning. So if you want a shoe that you can run fast in, get the Mach 5. If you want a shoe that you can run a bit faster in, but you're not doing all of your training as interval training or tempo sessions, then this might be a good option for you because it's a little bit more cushioned, probably a little bit more stable, and just a bit more of a workhorse, I'd say, for those daily training miles than the Hoka Mach 5. But I think overall, the Mach 5 is the superior shoe out of these two, and I'd definitely pick this one up if I was looking for a daily trainer to add to my rotation. Another option other than these two shoes, which I've mentioned before most of the videos that we do, the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3 is probably the best versatile daily shoe you can get at the moment. It does have a plate running through it. It is very well designed for running at speed, but also it's got a little bit more cushioning than the Mach 5. So I'd say it's more versatile than the Mach 5. You get a lot more out of that shoe. Some people I know have raced many times in the Saucony Endorphin Speed 2 and preferred it to the Endorphin Pro 2 just because it just felt more comfortable. And I actually preferred the Speed 2 to the Endorphin Pro 2. Not anymore. I prefer the Pro 3 to the Speed 3 for running at speed. But I would say that the Speed 3 is the best option as a daily versatile running shoe. But if you want something without a plate in it, you've got these two options, and I would go for the Hoka Mach 5. So that's it from me. Thanks a lot for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe and click that little bell icon, and check the channel out for all the other videos we've got from the latest road and trail shoes, as well as running headphones and watches out at the moment. We also have our monthly podcast that comes out at the end of each month, so if you go into the caption below, you can find a link to the podcast provider of your choice, and you can listen to the most recent version. And if you can, and if you like it, please leave us a review or a rating on Apple Podcasts so that more people can see it. Okay, thanks a lot for watching, and we'll catch you next time.